Hey, what's up and welcome. I'm the one and only West Coast King, and welcome back to the Chicago Fire career, episode number 13. And today marks the beginning of season number 2 here with Chicago. We're going to be starting off with the MLS draft and then moving into the off-season transfer window, and we do have a lot of business to take care of there. But for the MLS draft for this series, I'm going to be switching up the format quite a bit from what we saw in the LAFC series. For this one, I'm going to limit the MLS draft to 2 picks, and I'm not going to show you guys every single player that's available that I could pick and go through every single one of them. A, that takes too much time, and B, some of the players are 15 years old that I have in the draft pool, so I'm actually going to wait till next season to draft them anyway, so it wouldn't make sense to show you guys who they are right now. So the only players you're going to see for the MLS draft are the 2 players that we're going to pick. And another change that I'm going to make is, instead of capping the picks based off of their maximum possible potential, I'm just going to make 2 picks. The first one is going to be a player that could possibly crack into the starting 11 right away, or at least could be involved in the starting 11 right from the get-go. And then the second pick is probably going to be a player that maybe has some decent potential to them, but needs to work on a couple of things, needs a little bit of training before he's actually ready to make it into the team. So I'm not going to cap the potentials on these 2 picks. I'm just going to kind of base it off of if they're ready to play right away or if they're not. So without further ado, let's get into this MLS draft. And with the first round pick, no surprise here, we're going with a goalkeeper. It's going to be Nathan Rogerson out of the University of Maryland. He's 6'6" and looks like a decent young talent. His reflexes are already better than David Ousted at 70 rated, so that's decent. We got that going for him. Does need to work on a couple of things, though. His handling is awful. He's got some stone hands. We'll have to soften those up a bit. And his positioning is a bit suspect, but he's young. He'll develop. Looks like he could be our goalkeeper of the future. And with our second and final pick of this draft, I wasn't really sure which way to go. There's a couple of areas of need on this team. Defender. We still probably need at least one more defender, but I think we'll address that in the upcoming transfer window. We could probably use maybe another striker. I'm not sure about CJ Sapong and what his situation is going to be, but I think the one that we definitely need to address is the winger position, and that's where we're going to go with this second pick. It's going to be Kenneth Haber out of the University of Arizona. He's got good speed to him. His physicals look okay. At least the speed, he's pretty decent. I mean, he's 5'7", so he has good agility as well. Technical ability, there are some areas that look pretty good. Crossing, he can definitely deliver a ball into the box. I love to see that. Ball control, he can even take free kicks. Great curve on him. Looks like he might be able to pop some long shots if we work on that a little bit, but like I said, the second round pick, it's not going to be a player that's going to jump right into the first team, right into the starting 11, but if he develops, could be a decent squad player. So we finish the first season with a manager rating of 92, which is pretty damn impressive. The only objective that we didn't manage to hit was in the youth development one. We just can't do that objective where we have to sign a youth player in the first season, or the same season that we signed them to the youth academy, because we don't use our youth academy like we normally should. So we just physically couldn't do that objective, but we hit every other objective set for us by the board. And the one I may be most proud of is that we sold out 18 out of our 20 league home games this season. If you've ever seen a Chicago Fire home match, you would know that that is actually very impressive. There's usually like nobody there. I don't know why people don't go to Chicago home games. I think it's a pretty exciting team to watch, but they just flat out don't, which is pretty sad. We hit every other objective set for us, reached the playoff final, reached the round of 16 US Open Cup, and obviously there is no Champions League for MLS. Don't even get me started on that one. So we are now officially into season number 2. We're into the January transfer window. Corrales has left the team on a pre-contract, and I've already made a couple of small moves to bolster our defense a little bit. Obviously, we need to address the defense a little bit more. We have Trusty, we have Lillard, Kappelhoff is back from injury, so that's nice. Those are going to be my 3 primary center backs this season, but we could use a little bit more depth, maybe a couple of younger guys that we could train up a little bit. So I went ahead and did a deal with Toronto to bring in Julian Dunn. I thought he was going to be closer to 60 rated. Unfortunately, he's not. He's 54, so he's a bit of a project. And then I found this guy, David Wood, floating around in the free agency. He's an American center back. 57 rated is not great, but he is 6'4", has good strength, has good jumping as well. Sprint speed for a dude 6'4" is not bad. 68, that's decent. 70 stamina is good too. but his technical ability, not great. We need to work on his marking and just general defensive abilities. And since we're looking at the players that we brought in, I'll look at our draft pick, our second round draft pick, Haber. Didn't know what his weak foot skill moves were. 4-star weak foot, 3-star skills. That will do very, very nicely to go along with some decent speed and agility. This guy actually could see a little bit of playing time pretty quickly here. But our first real order of business in this season is to get rid of David Ousted. And considering he's 33 and only worth $1 million, I doubt very seriously any team's really going to come in for him. I'm just going to go ahead and just release him outright. I think that's the best way to go about this. So the post-Ousted era officially begins in Chicago. So we're literally 5 days into this transfer window, and we have a problem. We have a release clause being paid for Brandt Bronico. Fair enough. I mean, 66 rated, only earns $1,900 per week in wages. I'd be happy to give him a new contract and keep him around. I like the way he played for us last season. The issue here being, I can't offer him a new contract. Apparently, he just got one. I don't remember giving him one. Maybe I did last season, maybe I didn't. I honestly don't remember. But apparently, I can't re-sign him. So if he leaves, he leaves. And there's not a whole hell of a lot I can do about that. This transfer window has not gone according to plan at all. First, Bronico with the release clause being paid. Now Mo Adams. And I do remember now giving Bronico a new contract because I gave Mo Adams a contract at the exact same time, which means I can't renew Mo Adams' contract either. So if they want to leave, they're going to leave. And oh, by the way, those are my only 2 backup center mids as we speak. I was already going to have to bring in another one this transfer window. Now I'm probably going to have to bring in 3. So we're just kind of waiting and seeing right now if they decide to leave. I really hope at least Mo Adams stays because he was kind of going to be the starter next year after Schweini leaves, and Schweini is retiring at the end of the season. So we are really, really screwed over right now. So it is worst case scenario. Brandt Bronico and Mo Adams both left. Didn't even know they felt that way, but apparently they felt they needed to make a move. So they're gone, which kind of left me scrambling. I had to find a couple of new midfielders, which I didn't anticipate having to do. So I found a couple of guys. The first one is Kyle McGuinness. He joins us from St. Mirren in Scotland. Pretty decent all-around player. Has a little bit of speed. He can also play out on the wing, which again helps us cover another area of need, which is the wing. Pretty technically gifted all around. I mean, technically sound. I wouldn't say gifted, but he's a technically sound all-around player. I like him. 3-star, 3-star, 20 years old. He could develop into something. We'll have to see how things go with him. The next player is Mies Hodemaker. He joins us from AZ in the Netherlands. More of a defensive-minded player, so he kind of takes the spot of Mo Adams in that regard. Could come in and maybe shut things down at the end of a game. Again, not a great technically gifted player, but a decent sound defensive midfielder. Good passing as well. I like to see that. And he has a 4-star weak foot, which is very nice. And I've also gone ahead and called up one of the players from the draft that I wasn't going to draft ever, but again, I need midfielders. So I've gone ahead and called up Brian Gibbs. He's 52 rated. Yeah, there's not much to say about him. He's not very good, but he has a little bit of potential. He might turn into something if we give him the amount of training and playing time that he needs. Honestly, he might end up going out on loan right away, but he's there. He's in the team. And despite all of the chaos that has ensued in this transfer window, we managed to win the preseason tournament quite convincingly as well. I rotated Nathan Rogerson and Stephen Cleveland in net. They both played pretty well. I think Cleveland was the one that got the clean sheet in the final against Toronto, so kudos to him. He might start the season as the primary goalkeeper. He is a little bit older, a little bit more experienced, and is a little bit higher rated, so we might go Cleveland early on. And there were some pretty good performances. Gaitan played pretty well. Still considering selling him, although again, this transfer window has not gone to plan, so I might end up just keeping him, if for no other reason than just to keep a little bit of stability in the team. Gaitan played well, Nicholas played well, and Katai played again very well in the preseason tournament, just like he did last year. So overall, very impressed. And you know what? I'm kind of sick of playing catch up in this transfer window. I'm sick of having to react and sign players just spontaneously. I want to go for a player that I actually want, and that's going to be Jonathan Lewis. Now, you might say, oh, it's an unrealistic signing, but Jonathan Lewis just moved to Colorado in real life, and I think he could come in and be our starting left winger. I wanted to move Katai into the midfield, and I was considering of getting rid of Gaitan, but considering the lack of midfielders that we have now, I might keep Katai and Gaitan just to keep some midfielders in the team. But first off, let's bring in Jonathan Lewis. So squad role, I think I could offer him rotation at this point because he is pretty low rated. Yeah, I can. He does have good potential. That's the real reason I'm bringing him. And I am going to commit to playing him quite a bit out there on the left wing. And maybe at some point he could even develop and turn into the striker of the future if we decide to get rid of Nikolic. So all around, this is a really, really good deal, and it makes a lot of sense to bring him into this team. We'll go for a 4-year contract. No release clause. No, I'm not doing release clauses anymore. No more release clauses. I learned the hard way that is a bad idea. So we'll deny that. He shouldn't be a designated player, right? No, $2,000 per week in wages, which is pennies. Let's get rid of that bonus there. We'll bump up his actual signing bonus by 20K. Throw the kid a little change, and that should easily get the deal done. And Jonathan Lewis is joining Chicago. So with the addition of Jonathan Lewis, this is what the team now looks like. And I thought, you know, I still had Bonku in the team, and that was one player I really didn't want to carry into next season. I just didn't feel like he fit the team very well. I'm going to keep Herbers next year just because I've already made a ton of moves, and I don't want to make another one. So Herbers stays. But Bonku, I kind of want to get rid of Bonku. So who can I get for him? Who can I bring in place of Bonku? I'm looking for possibly a left mid or a left back. That's what Bonku played. And then I remembered there's a former Chicago player that just rejoined MLS like last week. And he's basically the upgraded version of Raheem Edwards. And that is Jovan Jones. So Jovan Jones is now going to play left back for us. Edwards can now be kind of the primary backup to Jovan Jones, as well as he'll get some playing time a little bit further forward in his more natural position at left wing. It kind of makes sense all the way around for everyone involved. Lewis doesn't have very good stamina. He's going to have to be subbed off almost every single game, so Edwards will still play. And that will be the last move that we make in this transfer window. And that is indeed the end of the transfer window. No more moves were made. This is the team that we will go into season number 2 with, and it does not look the way I had pictured it in my head. I will say that right now. A lot of things happened in this transfer window I didn't expect, and we just kind of had to react and go with it and make the best of it that we could. So it's interesting. Gaitan is still here. I didn't anticipate that. Lewis is in the team. I never expected to get him when we started this transfer window. He wasn't even on my short list to begin January. Somehow he made his way into the team. Jovan Jones wasn't on my list either, but he's here now as well. So in the end, for the starting 11, we ended up downgrading the left winger spot, although Lewis does have good potential. Nice young player there. We upgraded the left back spot, and we sort of downgraded the goalkeeper, although having Ousted out of goal is an upgrade no matter what the new overall rating of the new goalkeeper is. So that I would consider that an upgrade regardless. But yeah, just some unexpected things happened. There's some players in the team now, McGinnis and Hodemaker. No idea who they were when I started this transfer window. They're now in the team. Just kind of chaos. That was one of the most chaotic transfer windows I've ever been a part of. But that is where we're going to end this episode. Next time out, we'll actually start season number 2 and get in and play our first game. So that's it for this one. If you did enjoy it, make sure to let me know by leaving a like below. Subscribe if you're new. And I will see you when we come back for some more Chicago Fire career. See ya.